Welcome to the Rinkside Rundown podcast, your ultimate destination for all things women's hockey with your host, Chris Sinclair. Hello and welcome back to the Rinkside Rundown podcast. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Lindsay Eastwood, an Ottawa, Ontario native, Syracuse University graduate, and member of the Toronto Six, and current manager of communications and team services for the Kitchener Rangers. Lindsay, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
Hey, thank you. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to chat with you.
I can't wait. This is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you once again for coming on. I feel like in these conversations, a natural starting point is always what got you into hockey. And for you, there's a bit of a, some family history there, but I'd love to hear, what was it about hockey that attracted you to the sport?
Well, Chris, I'll tell you, at first I wanted to be a figure skater, and coming from a hockey family, it didn't go over well when I was 4, 5, 6 years old. So I always wanted the finger skates, I called them, the white skates, and I always just ended up getting my brother's hand-me-down hockey skates and all that. But my dad played hockey, played junior A up in Pembroke at the Lumber Kings, and he coached junior hockey in the Ottawa area for a number of years, and my uncle played in NHL for 13 seasons. And I also have an older brother who played hockey, so it was just a matter of time before I hit the ice to play hockey, and changed my mind on figure skating.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And I mean, you mentioned your uncle as well as your dad. What kind of influences did they maybe have on you? Your uncle, being Mike Eastwood, played, I think it was over 700 games in the NHL. What kind of influence did they have on you, both, encouraging you to get into the sport, but also, throughout your career, maybe when there were downs or maybe there were really big ups, like how did they help you navigate that as well?
Well, and this might be jumping the gun a little bit on some of our conversation here, but when I was 8 years old, I just remember blowing out the candles on my birthday and wishing to play in the NHL, and that was because my uncle played in the NHL. That's what I knew. That's what I would go to I'd go watch him play when he'd play the Sens. We went to St. Louis one Christmas, so I knew the NHL. I knew that was like the end goal for hockey players, so that was my dream. I wished to play in the NHL, and now it's pretty cool that you can wish to play in the PWHL, or for me the last couple of years the PHF, and all that, and that dream essentially did come true to play pro. But so seeing my uncle playing hockey and getting to follow his career for when I was younger, it definitely influenced me. But now, you know what, he has a huge influence me even more, I would say, and he's been a huge help for me. Now that I'm in the next chapter of life here and working in my career off the ice, and he's a scout for Philadelphia. He's a pro scout there, and I believe director of pro scouting. So he's worked in the OHL as well. He helped coach the Ottawa 67s a few years back. So I've really leaned on him. He's taught me what to look for in players when scouting and all that stuff, and how the software works and conversations you have and all that stuff. So I've really, honestly, he's been a huge influence on me these days, more so almost than when I was playing, because he's kind of a hands-off guy when you're playing, and whereas my dad probably took a more hands-on approach after the games, trying to tell me what to do and all that, and what to be better at, and all that good stuff. But he knew that there's so many people like in my ears when you're playing, when there's coaches, there's your family members, and then you get to a point, then there's agents that get involved. There's a lot of people in your ear, and talking to you about hockey. But he was definitely a supporter throughout the years, and same with my dad. My dad was my biggest influence in hockey, and still is. I have yet to come across someone who has a better hockey mind than him. He's a pretty smart guy when it comes to that stuff, and he learned how to deal when talking to me after games and stuff like that as the years went on.
Who would have thought that you would start off by lacing up some figure skates, and then those figure skates turned into hockey skates, and then now those hockey skates have continued carrying your career into where you're at now with the Kitchener Rangers. How unbelievable is that you've still been able to maintain a connection with the game of hockey?
It's awesome. It's crazy. The thing, like I always say, like hockey's brought me my best friends, my education, like four different countries, cities, like that I never would have been to, and and now it's given me a job. So it's pretty crazy. It's how much of hockey has been an influence in my life, and so it's no it's I appreciate everything, and now that I'm done playing, it's time to like kind of give back to hockey, give back to those younger girls and stuff like that.
Absolutely, and we're going to get into that a little bit in a few moments. But I'd love to hear, during your career, you were a defender. What made you choose the position of defense as opposed to maybe a forward or obviously a goaltender?
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm 6 foot tall, so I fit the mold, big defenseman, in that regard. I just, I think it was in Adam. They put me on D, and it just stuck ever since. I don't really know exactly why, but I just went on D. I remember I played on a spring hockey team with the boys when I was about, I think it was like 8 or 9 years old, and they had a D spot open, so I went defense, and it just stuck ever since. And to be honest, I think I don't know if I would have had as much success if I was forward. So as much as I would have loved to be a centerman, I always joke around. And when I played school hockey, I always try to go center and make my teacher let me go play forward and all that stuff. But no, it's I think just naturally I'm a defenseman.
Would you ever have considered a different position?
I would have loved to be a centerman, because you're playing both ends of the ice when you're playing center. So that way, but like I said, I probably wouldn't have had as much success though.
Huh. Well, I mean, speaking of your time as a defender, how would you have, in reflecting on your career, how would you have described your style of play?
Well, I would say I was a two-way defenseman, I guess you could say. I took care of business in the back end, and then I also had a little bit of an offensive edge, more so in university than in the pros. But yeah, I like to skate the puck. I picked my spots, but at the end of the day, I prided myself on being a big, tough defenseman, I guess you could say.
Fair. And, as I had mentioned off the top, you're an Ottawa native, you're from Canada. What was it like to be able to play, early on in your career in front of friends and family with the Nepean Wildcats, of course?
Yeah, no, it was awesome. My my family and friends would always come out to watch and all that stuff. So it was good. We built a good little program there in Nepean. The second year, my first year playing in Nepean was only the second year that they had a junior team. So it built right up by the time I left there, and it was an awesome spot to play my junior hockey. And Ottawa is a great hockey town. There's now in the OWHL, I believe there's like four teams in Ottawa now, which there was only two back when I was playing. So it just speaks to that it's growing, and you don't need to leave the area, the Ottawa area, the Eastern Ontario area, to go play hockey. Whereas some people, think they have to go to Toronto, but you don't. It's good quality hockey, and we've seen a number of players come out of the Ottawa minor hockey. And go on to play pro or university. I remember I think there was like five of us at Syracuse at one point that were all from Ottawa and all played Nepean and all that. So it's pretty cool to see. It's a good spot.
I would, maybe I'm a little bit biased being from the city, but yeah, I would tend to agree with you. It's especially with the PWHL, there's been such a reception in the city. You can't get a ticket to any one of the home games, and there's just a real buzz around town, and it's just an incredible thing to be a part of. So, but I don't want to take away from this one of these early accomplishments that you had with the Nepean Wildcats, which was being named team captain for the final 2 seasons of your time there. What was it like? Like, what did that feel like for you to be named team captain? And maybe what were some of those lessons that you learned as being a team captain that have helped you throughout your career in hockey?
Yeah, it's definitely an honor. Anytime you get chosen to be a captain or lead a team, or it's an honor, and it's something that I didn't take lightly. It was I prided myself in that, and wanted to be a good leader for everyone, and be there for everyone. I remember my first year, Haley Northcote, she was our captain there in Nepean, and so I took a lot of lessons from her. She was my first junior captain, so I learned a lot from her, and and how to be a leader and all that good stuff. So no, it's definitely a big honor, and I learned a lot in those couple of years, and we had a good leadership team, every season there, and I wasn't alone on that. We had a good quality crew. I remember there was like Sam Cogan and Josiane Posbon. The three of us like got to play for Team Canada, and we were on that team. We were in it together, and yeah, we had some good success.
It's so interesting that you bring up the name Sam Cogan, um, because I actually had a chance to chat with her recently, and she obviously you two were teammates, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But she did let me know that apparently you love talking about your dog. So I'd love to take a moment just to give you that opportunity to chat about your dog.
I do love my dog, Bentley. He's 14 and a half years old. He's quite literally on his last leg. He's on his farewell tour, which it's sad, but he's had a good run. And he's the best, Benny.
I love that. I'm a dog owner myself, so anytime I get to talk to chat about my dog, I know that I absolutely will. So I feel you on that one. But I was on it. She did bring you up in the conversation, and I thought that I wasn't expecting. I didn't realize that you two were teammates. But what was it like to play alongside her, especially? Obviously she's from the area, and then as you'd mentioned, playing internationally with her. And then what's it been like to be able to see her career continue now in the PWHL with Toronto?
Yeah. Well, so it started out that we played against each other in boys hockey, and we met each other I guess, in the locker room, in the broom closet there, where they'd put the girls when we'd play, and and all that. So, yeah, we met there, and then we started playing spring hockey together and stuff like that. And then eventually, the time had come that we had to go switch over to the girls hockey, and we made the team in Nepean there together in our grade 9 year. And so we were the young guns. We were 14 years old playing with 18, 19-year-olds. So we were buddies. We got really tight there, and we played for 4 years together in Nepean. So and we'd road trip to all the road trips together, and hotels and all that. So yeah, we had some good times, and I actually just got to see her recently too. I went and watched a Toronto PWHL game, and got to talk to her there, and I hadn't seen her in years, so it was good to catch up. But it's awesome to see that she's doing well, and she's enjoying herself, and that she stayed in the game. So it's great to see, and it's pretty cool when you see things come full circle like that.
Absolutely, yeah. And what does you had mentioned that you had spent a number of years playing. A few years younger than the other players that you were also playing against and with. What do you think that had an impact on how you approached your style of play, as to maybe have to be a little bit stronger, a little bit faster, a little bit more skilled than you maybe would have been if you were in the same age range as them?
Yeah, totally. I had to develop pretty quickly, and catch up to the speed of play and all that stuff. And just, I started out as pretty defensive then, and then I developed as the years went on. I had a good 4 years to develop in junior, which was really beneficial to my success and improvements, sorry, I should say. But yeah, I had to get faster and stuff like that. And you also have to grow up a little faster too. You're around some older girls. I know Sam and I were pretty shy. Well, maybe not Sam. Sam's not a shy person, but we had to grow up pretty fast. We were in a locker room with people 4 or 5 years older than us, 3 years older than us.
I have a feeling that this next step in your career also had quite an impact on you, because we've talked about with representing Canada internationally, where you won the silver medal in the U18 World Championships. What was it like being a part of that tournament on the ice, but I also want to know, what was it like to be able to connect with, some of these players and spend time with them off the ice when, usually they're going to be opponents and all that sort of stuff. And now you're hanging out with them off the ice.
Yeah, that was well, first of all, it was a heartbreaking tournament. You know, you lose silver, whereas like you kind of win bronze and you win gold, right? So, and when it's the Americans, it hurts even more in overtime too. So, but all in all, it was an incredible experience. Getting to throw on the Maple Leaf is, that's a dream come true. That's something you dream of doing as a little girl, or I dreamt of doing as a little girl. So it was really cool to get that moment and experience that, and then just being in a room full of like-minded people is like, it's so inspiring and push and motivating. It makes you want to be better, and knowing that these gals we're all going for the same mission and are all pushing ourselves to be better. So it's being in a room with like-minded people, and it's incredible.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring up the specifics of the tournament because obviously that would be a little bit of a sour note. But I mean, still having the opportunity to win a medal internationally. I know it's not gold, and like you said, it's always like you only got silver because you lost gold. But it's still an incredible accomplishment, especially as we've said, from someone who started off by lacing up figure skates, and now you're winning medals internationally. So that's just absolutely incredible. So now that you've gone through, you played for the Nepean Wildcats, you had an opportunity to play internationally. The next step in your career, as I had mentioned off the top, was to attend Syracuse University, where you graduated with 2 degrees, one a bachelor's in communication and rhetorical studies, and the other a master's degree in television, radio, and film. Before we get into your career on the ice with Syracuse, could you share a little bit more about why you chose what it was about Syracuse rather than maybe what's now U Sports?
Yeah. So I was recruited by Syracuse, and I actually, like, my dad kind of pushed me to go and check it out. I wasn't sure. I was like, Syracuse, like I go shopping there. Like, I don't want to go to school there and all that. And then so he's like, just give it a shot. Like, we'll go see it. You don't have to go there. You just go check it out. We have to do your due diligence and check it all out and see which one you like the best at the end of the day. And so went and did the visit and fell in love with the school as soon as I got there. So it's kind of ironic, but a big part of the reason I went to Syracuse was for that program, that television, radio, film program at Newhouse School of Public Communications. Growing up, I always wanted to be on TV. I thought that's what I wanted to do, is be a sports broadcaster. Still haven't written it off yet, but I think things have kind of changed in my mind since. But that was the school to go to if that's what you want to do. It's the best communication school in the U.S. and so that was a big driver. And then it's only 3 hours from Ottawa. Super easy to go home, or my parents come watch and all that stuff. So it just seemed like the perfect fit for me, and it was. I definitely have no regrets in going to Syracuse.
Well, this is now the point in the show where I get to take a moment and celebrate you even more by talking about your time in or with Syracuse, where you played in 139 games. You amassed 75 points. You were also a captain. No surprise, because that seems to be a consistent theme in your hockey career. For the final 2 seasons with the team, and in your final season there, you were also awarded the CHA Best Defenseman, All CHA First Team, CHA All Academic Team, and also broke the defenseman goal scoring record. There's so much more I could go on about, but then we just spend the rest of this episode celebrating all of the accolades that you've had. So, first of all, obviously, congratulations. Those, obviously, spending, your time at Syracuse, first of all, that's incredible. Having the off-ice success that you had with the majors that you studied, but also on ice, having the success you had there, and it's recognized with these awards. When you in hearing all that and kind of reflecting on your time there, what does it mean to you to have had such a successful or great collegiate career, both on and off the ice?
Yeah, I mean, it was just so much fun. Like we didn't always have winning records and all that, but it was no, it was great. And those are just numbers to me. It's the fact that we got to go and make our first appearance in Syracuse women's hockey history at the NCAA's and raise the CHA trophy for the first time. Those are like the big memories for me on the ice, and those are, we did that as a team, and that was incredible. But yeah, no, it's a special place, Syracuse and Syracuse hockey. And I'm excited to see the future of it. I know there's going to be some great things, and there's going to be some really good players come through, and I think that scoring record's already been beat. So that's just like awesome to see that there's good development coming up, and there's some great players coming up the ladder too.
How do you think your time there helped to shape your career as you moved into the PHF?
You know what? It well, once again, like helped me learn how to be a better leader. There was I was part of the student athlete advisory committee, sorry, and I was on the executive board there, and so I'm around leaders from all different sports teams, learning from them and all that. So helped me really become a better leader. And then on the ice, I had the opportunity to play in all different roles at Syracuse, and whereas like some teams maybe I wouldn't have. And I actually my first year I had to sit out. And I was told that I might never play. I got medically disqualified, and was told that you're not going to play hockey here ever as long as you have to be on blood thinners, because I had a blood clotting disorder that came out of nowhere. So I didn't think I was ever actually going to step foot on the ice in Syracuse. And the fact that I got 4 years out of it, and a successful 4 years, that's just bonus time. And and if I maybe had gone to a different school, I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity to get back on the ice. Other teams, they would have filled my spot, and I would have just had to move on and with off the ice. But Syracuse and Paul Flanagan, it gave me some incredible opportunities to grow as a player on the ice and off the ice, and then bring that to the PHF. I was feeling confident in my game by the time I left Syracuse to make an impact at the professional level.
And I think, that's a testament to your character and your drive and your passion for the game. And it's great that you were able to bring that, despite the obstacles you had to overcome, you were able to bring that into the PHF with the Toronto Six, where you played for 3 seasons, which also included a big congratulations, because you actually also won the championship this past season, along with scoring the first ever goal in that franchise's history, which is just absolutely incredible. And I know it's not really about your personal accolades, it's about the team, but I think it's also really cool to be able to celebrate you as an individual and how you contributed to the success of that program. And obviously, winning a championship, there's no better way to measure the success than actually winning the championship for the league. So, and I think I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about your memories of scoring that first goal in franchise history, which was, and there's a little Ottawa connection here, assisted by Emma Woods and current PWHL Ottawa forward Sheann Darkangelo. What was that experience like for you? Do you even remember it?
Yeah, well, that was crazy. Like, I didn't realize how big of a goal that was. Like, we were just excited that we were getting on the board, and Woodsy the puck popped out in the perfect position, and I just almost just close your eyes and hope it goes in at that point. No, it was super exciting. After the game, we were just on our phone stretching out whatever, and my phone's blowing up, and I'm like, what is going on? I had no idea the impact of scoring this goal would be. And now the puck's in the Hockey Hall of Fame with my stick and all that. It's pretty crazy, and it's pretty cool to be a part of that history for sure. And but yeah, honestly, we were just excited to get on the board, and didn't think any more of it in the moment.
And here you are just sitting there saying, you know what, I just want to play hockey. And now you have all of these different again, I know it's not about the individual, it's about the team, but still, you have your stuff in the Hockey Hall of Fame. What's that like? How does that? Does that even seem real, or is it so surreal to you?
That is surreal. Like that's no, that doesn't feel real at all. I remember I got a direct message on Instagram and they're like, "Hey, like, do you have the puck?" And I was like, "Yeah, like it's just collecting dust on my mantle kind of thing, you know?" And they're like, "Well, the Hockey Hall of Fame would love to have it if you're willing to donate it." And so I was like, "Absolutely." So it's better in their hands. It's just going to collect dust here. And to say that I have something in the Hockey Hall of Fame is pretty cool. I remember growing up, if you won the silver stick, your name got to go on a plaque in there or something like that. And I remember we won one year, so I was like, my name's in the Hockey Hall of Fame, like from when I won the Adam A silver stick and whatever year it was. But now that to know that that's in there, that's pretty incredible.
Nice. What was your experience like overall with the Toronto Six during your 3 seasons there?
It was so much fun. It was I had a blast. It was awesome. We had some really good teammates and squads those 3 years, and definitely, and it was coming out of the pandemic too, and so it was we dealt with a lot of adversity and battled through it, and it was it was the perfect ending at the end there. So that was pretty special. But we had such a good group of girls and teammates. So it was just awesome to, once again, we're back with that like-minded. We all just love the game of hockey, and it still goes this way. Like when you're playing women's hockey, and it's gonna change. It's changing currently, the landscape of it all. Like you're not making millions. We're all there because we love it. It's not because of the money at the end of the day. So it's pretty cool when you just have that. You're in a room with that much passion for the game.
Yeah, and let's just take a moment to kind of reflect on what's it. It's still it may still be a little bit fresh for you because I know the ring ceremony was relatively recently. What was it like to be able to finally get that ring and to come back together as a team and have to be able to celebrate in that moment?
Yeah, that was great to get together again. I hadn't seen some of the girls since we won a year ago now. So it's pretty cool to get together, catch up, talk to some of the players that are playing in the new league and all that and reconnect and everything. And then it kind of gave us that closure. It was that, end on that note. We just got a phone call one day to say that, the league's over, the Toronto Six is no more. So getting to come together, celebrate what we did last season, it was the perfect closure.
Yeah, I love that it sounds like it was a really good bookend to what ended up being your career.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, not too many people get to say they retired a champion. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go out on top. There's no better way to do it. So, your hockey career, at least on the ice, has come to an end. As now you are retired, but you also had the opportunity, and we're going to get into, as I had mentioned off the top, with the Kitchener Rangers. But you also had the opportunity to cover both the 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs for the Tampa Bay Times, as well as the NWHL COVID bubble season with Sportsnet. I'd love to just hear, a little bit more about how that came to be, and what those experiences, especially with your majors, how that experience was for you.
yeah, well, so I was out of 2020. I was just wrapping up my degree and graduating there at Syracuse. So for my master's, in the last part of the program, it was just a 1 year master's program, but it was a full 12 months. So I had started the July before in 2019 and was going to finish at the end of the summer. But the last leg was to do an internship. And so I was like, got sent home because of COVID and all that. I was like, I have no idea what we're going to do. Like, I have to get finished. I have one more credit left and it's an internship. So when I was getting recruited by the Toronto Six, I explained all this. Like, I have to finish my degree. I need to get an internship. Like, you can do it with us. So I started doing, and I talked to my professor. Like, I was like, look, I'm going to go play hockey here. Can I, they've offered for me to do some social media stuff. Can that cover my internship? They're like, yeah, absolutely. That sounds like a great opportunity. So I started a little vlogging series with the team, and so I kind of showed my teammates my interest in what I like in the digital media side of things, I guess you could say. And so one of them was with Sam Ridgewell, one of our goaltenders, and I interviewed her over the summer, and then she had gotten wind from a family member of hers that works for the Tampa Bay Times that they were looking for a correspondent to cover the Lightning in the bubble in Toronto. So she reached out to me. She goes, "Hey, I know you're like into this stuff. Like, would you want to do this?" I'm like, twist my arm. So I was so pumped, and that was like surreal moment too. I'm like up, like get credentialed into this like secure bubble. I was just a media member, so I had no access to the players or anything like that. But I'm in the building, like one of like 10 people that get to be in the building to cover the games, right? So that was pretty cool, pretty special. And once again, hockey's bringing this. It all comes back to hockey, right? Like teammates helping me out and networking and all that. So that was a cool experience. And then when we were going into the bubble for the NWHL, my first season, I wanted to, see if there's something I could do. So I reached out to Sportsnet and I said, "Hey, like, what do you guys think of this if I, blog a little bit while I'm in the bubble?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure. Like, have at it. Like, we'd love to have your content and stuff." So I did a couple blogs there while I was there, and then blogged the experience, and just to kind of get some more experience under my nose too.
That's incredible. And obviously, your hockey career continues to, provide you with opportunities. Not to take away from how, obviously, you deserve all of these opportunities. And we're going to get into your time with the Kitchener Rangers as well in just a moment. But I would also, it's important that we also talk about, we had mentioned the PWHL a couple of times at this point, but I just want to kind of get an idea as to, this is obviously a huge moment, a huge movement right now. We're seeing such traction. What's it like to see the growth of women's hockey and the already inarguable success of the PWHL thus far in its inaugural season?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to see these crowds of people showing up to these games. It's awesome to see, and super exciting, and you can just see it. It's just going right up, and it's not going to stop. It's great momentum for the growth, and it's incredible to see it. And it makes me a little jealous at times, like, did I hang them up too early, like, kind of thing. But no, it's awesome to see, and I'm very proud of everyone for what they've done to get to this point. And now women's hockey fans finally get what they deserve, and it's a good product on the ice for them to come watch. And I appreciate them all showing up to watch it too.
Yeah, there's. I've said this 1,000 times, but there is no better, not just hockey experience I've ever had, but just sporting experience I've ever had than to attend a home game with the PWHL Ottawa. It is an absolutely bananas experience, and it is just the most exciting. The passion from the fans, the enthusiasm from the fans, the product on the ice is just it's you couldn't have asked for anything more. So I was actually going to ask you if you thought maybe you did hang up your skates a little bit early, but I mean, it seems to have been good timing for you because ultimately now you're with the Kitchener Rangers. As I had mentioned, you're currently the manager of communications and team services. So I guess, how did that opportunity arise, and how has that experience been now being on the management side of hockey?
Yeah, well, so when I got the news broke about the PHF of being bought out, I had just signed my contract that day. I had come to terms with the Toronto Six, and I had just signed it. And I kind of had in my head is like, let's play one more year, and I'll figure it out next year to have something lined up for after the season, and I'll move on, kind of thing. Is kind of where my head was at. And so I had just signed this, and and then it got voided the same day I signed it. So it's pretty crazy. And then they just didn't know what was going to happen next. The PHL, the PWHPA had been saying, the news was breaking. It's going to be okay September, then January. So I had no idea when a league was going to start, and what was going to happen next, what it was going to look like, if I was going to fit in the mold, all that stuff. So I was working at Sportsnet at the time, and just casually. And so I needed a job to be able to sustain my lifestyle, and so I wasn't sure. And so I hit the hit LinkedIn to check out what was out there, and I saw the Kitchener Rangers job. I applied. I kind of just threw my name in the hat just on a whim, and that was like the next week, and I heard back right away. And the interview process started like this would have been like a week after learning about the folding or the fold of the buyout of the league, and so I just kind of ran with the process, and then I got offered the job, and I talked to a few people, and they said, I think this is an opportunity that you can't pass up, and I agreed with that, and so I ran with it, and definitely when as thing more came about the league, as a little bit of FOMO they say, or what, always wonder where I would have wound up, like where I would have been drafted and all that stuff, and then seeing Ottawa get a team, it was a little like, oh, that would have been cool to play in Ottawa, but at the same time, I was ready to move on, and I miss the games. I don't miss anything else about it, the training and all that stuff. So I was ready to take my career off the ice, and I'm still involved in hockey, and I'm sure I'll be back on the women's side of things one day. So it's yeah, it was time, and this opportunity at work. I've always been really dedicated to my career off the ice, even while playing in university. I always was dedicated to that. I always did internships, and I was working towards my career off the ice. So it seemed like the right moment, and I was kind of getting sick of not being able to take these jobs, these awesome jobs that were kind of coming my way because I was playing hockey, or I couldn't apply to a job that was wicked and like my dream, my dream path, and because I'm playing hockey. So it was time, and I didn't want to have to pass up this time and to not know what was going to happen next for me on the ice. So it was definitely, like I said, I missed the games, but it's been great to start my career off the ice.
Yeah, and you never know where what the next step may be in your career as you off the ice, as you've had these incredible opportunities, and now with the Rangers, who knows what could be next. And that's it's the game keeps giving back to you, and it's just incredible to be able to see that you can have a career, whether it's on the ice, whether it's off the ice, but you've still been able to stay in touch with the sport that you love so much.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah. As we look to wrap up today, I always like to finish things off with a fun game. Typically I say it's 20 questions. It's a game of 20 questions, but they're usually not 20 questions. There's usually like 5 or 6. So what I've unofficially dubbed this segment now is Chris just asks the guests random questions. And so we're going to dive into that now. Okay, if that sounds good to you.
Sounds good.
Okay, wonderful. So during your playing days, during your career, what would be your go-to pregame meal?
Go-to pasta, chicken, veggies, classic.
Ooh, no hesitation there. I love it. What kind of this may sound a little bit strange, but what kind of sauce did you put on the pasta, or was it just tomato sauce or something?
Just tomato sauce, a little marinara. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay. I've heard this has come up a few times, but it's Alfredo and pesto sauce is the other one that I've heard. And now every time I say it, now it's just the only thing I can think of. So, did you ever have any game day rituals or superstitions?
Yeah, I tried to not be super superstitious. There is definitely like when I'm just getting dressed, even for practices, left side always came before first. Or right, sorry. So like tying my skates or shin pads, elbow pads, left was always put on first. Then there's just like weird like routines that you just always like did the same, and like if it was like my stretches like in a certain order, and I couldn't get them out of whack and stuff like that, but otherwise I tried not to be too superstitious.
You, Lindsay, congratulations. You are now the officially the very first guest I've ever had on who actually has some sort of ritual to their pregame routine. So congratulations. I'll mail you the award.
Looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah. What are some other aspects of hockey you'd like to take on?
I would love to get into into a management role one day, and like the dream would be to be a GM one day.
Ooh, you heard it here first, and I'm super excited to follow up with you on that. Good luck in that endeavor. That's going to be incredible to see. You
Thank you.
obviously have a great hockey mind, and you're really well spoken. So I can only imagine that's going to be something that comes up in your future.
Yep.
Um, Last but not least, after a long day, and this can be, maybe we'll do it as a two-parter. When you were a player, and now that you're, on the player ops side of it or management side of it, how or what did you do to enjoy just kind of relaxing? What was relaxing? What does relaxing look like for Lindsay Eastwood?
Just sitting on the couch and maybe scrolling through some TikToks. That's like the ultimate relaxation for me.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I have one more. What was like a cheat meal or a cheat snack that you would even now that you just like, I need that and I'm going to enjoy it so much.
I love my sweets. Like I love good chocolate, like any kind of chocolate or cookies. Those are good. This I'm in Erie, Pennsylvania right now for the Rangers playoffs, and I got to go for a Target run yesterday, and I got cold caramel cold brew M&Ms, and they did not disappoint.
I have never heard of that, but now that's all I need in my life.
Right?
All right. Well, unfortunately, Lindsay, it's come that time in the show where we have to say goodbye. But I just wanted to say how much I appreciate your time today. Obviously, as you mentioned, you're on the road right now, but you still took the time to hang out and have a great conversation today. So I just wanted to say once again, thank you so much for this.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate you thinking of me to come on your show. So thank you very much.
Of course. And there you have it, folks, for Lindsay Eastwood. I'm Chris Sinclair, and this has been the Rinkside Rundown podcast. Cheers.